Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we're talking about a coin that may be sitting in your pocket or jar of loose change. That's right, we're diving deep into the story and hidden value of the 1970 Washington quarter dollar. If you thought quarters were just 25 cents, this video will absolutely change your mind. Let's rewind back to the year 1970. America was going through massive changes. Vietnam protests were raging, the Beatles had broken up, and Apollo 13 made headlines across the world. But quietly and without much fanfare, the Denver Mint produced millions of Washington quarters that year. Most of them were just average coins. But a very small number of those coins turned out to be something very different. Something astonishing. Something that would stun even seasoned collectors. Among the standard mintage of over 417 million Washington quarters struck in Denver in 1970, there were a few that had a story to tell. And for the right buyer, that story is worth thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. So what exactly makes a 1970 Washington quarter valuable? First, let's understand the basics. These quarters are made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, not silver. By 1970, the United States had fully transitioned away from using silver in its quarters. The Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark on the coin, was one of the primary facilities producing these pieces. Now here's where things get interesting. Some 1970 quarters were accidentally struck on leftover proof coin blanks from other countries. For example, a well-documented error shows that a 1970 Washington quarter was struck over a 1941 Canadian quarter. That means you can see traces of the Canadian coin underneath the United States design. This particular coin, discovered and authenticated, was sold for a jaw-dropping $84,888. Yes, you heard that right. Over $84,000 for a single quarter. Why? Because it is one of a kind. A mint error so rare and bizarre that collectors went wild over it, but even without foreign coin errors, there are other ways your 1970 Washington quarter could be worth a fortune. Error types like double die obverse, off-center strikes, or misaligned dies can increase the value dramatically. For instance, a well-centered 1970 quarter with a strong double die can sell anywhere from a few hundred to a few $1,000s, depending on condition and rarity. Also, the quality of the strike and the overall condition of the coin matter immensely. Coins graded MS-65 or higher can command high prices. MS stands for mint state, and these coins are virtually flawless, untouched by circulation. A 1970 quarter in MS-67 condition has sold at auction for over $1,500. That's 60 times its face value. Now you might be asking yourself, how can I tell if I have one of these rare coins? Start by checking the mint mark. The letter D should be located just to the right of Washington's ponytail. If you spot that, you know it was struck in Denver. Next, examine the coin under magnification. Look for doubling on the date or the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Also inspect the reverse, that's the eagle side, for any doubling or misalignment. And most importantly, check if there's any evidence that the coin was struck over a foreign coin, such as ghost images or strange lettering beneath the surface. That's your jackpot ticket. So what is the current market value of the 1970 Washington quarter in 2025? Most of these coins in circulated condition are worth face value. However, uncirculated examples can range between $5 and $20 depending on quality. Certified mint state examples are worth much more, between $50 and $200. Error coins and specialty strikes can easily reach prices in the thousands. And as we mentioned earlier, one very specific and rare 1970 quarter struck over a 1941 Canadian coin was sold for $84,888. Collectors today are more active than ever, and the market for rare coins continues to grow. Online marketplaces, auctions, and coin shows are full of dealers hunting for that one special find. If you think you might have one of these quarters, it's worth getting your coin professionally graded and authenticated. Services like PCGS and NGC can verify your coin's condition and rarity, giving it the credibility needed to command top dollar. In conclusion, the 1970 Washington quarter may seem like just another coin. But hidden within that copper-nickel shell could be a treasure worth thousands. Whether it's a rare mint error, a coin in pristine condition, or a once-in-a-lifetime anomaly like a foreign coin overstrike, this unassuming piece of pocket change has stunned collectors and investors alike. So check your coins, keep your eyes sharp, and never underestimate the power of a quarter. Because in the world of coin collecting, even the smallest details can lead to the biggest rewards. We're talking about a seemingly ordinary coin that could be worth a fortune, the 1967 Washington quarter. That's right, a coin that millions of Americans have seen, used, and probably spent without a second thought. But here's the twist. One version of the 1967 Washington quarter sold for an absolutely staggering $92,888. Yes, you heard that correctly. Almost $100,000 for a quarter dollar. So what's going on here? Why would someone pay that much for a coin that looks like the same one you might still find in your pocket change today? Let's get into the full history, the key details, and what collectors and dealers are looking for when they put such a massive price tag on this specific coin. Let's rewind the clock to 1967. The United States was in the middle of coin shortages caused by a dramatic rise in silver prices. The U.S. Mint had already removed silver from circulating quarters in 1965, replacing them with copper-nickel-clad coins. At the same time, to discourage hoarding and streamline production, the Mint decided not to use any mint marks from 1965 to 1967. So yes, officially, there are no mint marks on 1967 quarters. Every quarter struck in that year, regardless of whether it came from the Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco Mint, carried no mint mark. That's important because it makes 1967 one of those unique transition years, a product of economic policy, and a moment in coinage history that now attracts major attention from collectors. Now here's where things start to get interesting. While most 1967 quarters are extremely common and have little value beyond their face value, some special examples, coins with rare errors or in extremely high grades, can command enormous sums at auction. Let's talk about that headline-making coin that sold for over $92,000. This wasn't your average coin. It was a 1967 Washington quarter graded MS67 Plus by PCGS, meaning it was in near-perfect condition, with a flawless strike, full details, and beautiful, original luster. To make things even more extraordinary, this coin had a full strike with full details on Washington's hair and eagle's feathers, which are usually worn or weak on most examples. The coin was part of a top registry set, where collectors compete to have the finest known examples of every coin in a series. Because of its pristine state and its status as the finest known certified example, it set a record price of $92,888 when it crossed the auction block. Now that's extremely rare. The vast majority of 1967 quarters are worth between 25 cents and maybe a few dollars in uncirculated condition. So what should you be looking for if you're checking your change or going through an old collection? Here's a quick checklist. First, look for condition. Coins in mint state, especially grades MS65 and higher, have much higher value potential. Second, watch for error coins. Some 1967 quarters have dramatic mint errors, like off-center strikes, double dies, broad strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchets. For example, if a quarter was accidentally struck on a dime or penny blank. These errors can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on their rarity and visual appeal. Third, always check for proof-like surfaces or special strikes. While the U.S. Mint didn't issue proof sets for general circulation in 1967, there were special mint sets, or SMS coins, which were sold to collectors. Some of these coins have a satin-like finish and sharper details than regular circulation strikes. High-grade SMS quarters from 1967, especially with cameo contrast, can be worth significantly more. Fourth, authentication matters. If you think you have a high-grade coin or an unusual error, getting it graded by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC is essential. A certified grade boosts buyer confidence and can dramatically increase the value. So, to sum it all up, the 1967 Washington quarter is mostly a common coin, but in rare cases, certain examples can be worth serious money. In pristine condition, with the right strike and characteristics, this coin becomes a highly sought-after gem for top-tier collectors. And as we saw, one remarkable example fetched just under $100,000, even if you don't have that 1 in a million coin, searching through change and coin rolls can still be a fun and rewarding hobby. Who knows, you might find something rare, something historic, or maybe even the next record-breaking quarter. Spotlight is on a coin you may have in your change jar right now but don't even know it's worth a small fortune. We're talking about the 1974 Washington quarter, and yes, some of these have sold for over $72,000. That's right. One tiny piece of American currency, less than an ounce in weight, that could be your ticket to big money. But not every 1974 quarter is valuable. So, let's break it all down. First, let's talk about the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, it quickly became one of the most iconic pieces of circulating U.S. coinage. By 1974, the U.S. Mint was producing quarters at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint added a small letter to indicate where the coin was struck. If your 1974 quarter has a small d under the motto, "In God We Trust," it was minted in Denver. A small s means it was minted in San Francisco, and if there's no mint mark at all, it came from Philadelphia. In total, the mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters that year. Over 350 million from Philadelphia. More than 350 million from Denver. And about 2.6 million proof coins from San Francisco. So, with that many made, what makes some of them worth thousands of dollars? Here's where things get exciting. The biggest money is in condition and rarity. The most valuable 1974 quarters are those in pristine condition, specifically, uncirculated examples graded MS-67 or higher. MS stands for mint state, and a coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 is almost perfect with sharp details, no scratches, and a bright, lustrous shine. One particular 1974 D quarter graded MS-68 by PCGS, that's the professional coin grading service, sold for an unbelievable $72,888 at auction. That makes it one of the highest prices ever paid for a quarter from the 1970s. Now you're probably wondering, what makes that coin so special? It's all about scarcity in top grade. Even though millions were minted, very few survive in near-perfect condition. Most coins from 1974 entered circulation and were used daily. They've been dropped, scraped, and worn down by decades of handling. So finding one in flawless shape is like discovering a needle in a haystack. Now let's talk about errors. There are also a few 1974 quarters with mint errors that make them valuable to collectors. These errors can include double dies, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, which means the coin was made on a blank meant for another denomination. These rare minting mistakes can easily bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and condition. Let's say you're at home and you pull out a handful of quarters. What should you be looking for? First, flip the coin over and check the date. Make sure it's 1974. Then look underneath the motto, "In God We Trust," for a mint mark. Is it a D, S, or no mark at all? Next, examine the condition. Does it have sharp, crisp details? No visible scratches or wear? A coin with full details in the hair, eagle feathers, and lettering could be worth getting graded. Speaking of grading, this is crucial. If you believe you have a 1974 quarter in exceptional condition, consider submitting it to a reputable grading company like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can make a world of difference in the resale value. Now let's take a moment to talk about the San Francisco Mint coins. These are proof coins. They were never meant for circulation and were sold directly to collectors. While most proof 1974 S quarters are not worth thousands, a perfect grade of PR70 Deep Cameo can fetch premium prices, sometimes over $1,000, but back to the big headline. That record-breaking $72,000 quarter was a Denver minted coin in a condition so rare it's nearly flawless. If you're lucky enough to have a similar coin hiding in your collection, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Let's recap quickly. The 1974 Washington quarter is common in circulation, but rare in top condition. Look for mint marks, D, S, or none. Condition is everything. Errors boost value even more. Proof coins from San Francisco are special, and a graded coin can sell for tens of thousands if it's nearly perfect. So before you spend a quarter on coffee or drop it in a vending machine, take a close look. Because the next time you hold a 1974 quarter, it might just be the one worth more than $72,000. We are diving deep into the fascinating story of a coin that looks completely ordinary at first glance but could actually be worth a fortune. That's right, we are talking about the 1980 D Mint Mark Washington quarter. Some of these coins have been known to fetch big money, and you might just have one sitting in your change jar right now. Let's get into the full history, the details, and what makes this coin so special and potentially worth up to $65,888. First things first, let's talk about what the 1980 D Washington quarter actually is. Minted in Denver as indicated by the small D mint mark on the front or obverse of the coin, this quarter features the iconic profile of George Washington facing left. Designed by John Flanagan, this design has been a staple of American coinage since 1932 when it was first issued to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. The reverse of the coin shows a bold and proud American eagle perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches beneath, symbolizing strength and peace. The design is powerful, patriotic, and instantly recognizable. Now, by 1980, quarters were being made out of a clad composition. That means instead of silver they were made from a copper core with an outer layer of copper and nickel. So most 1980 quarters are only worth their face value, which is 25 cents. But of course that is not the whole story. You see, coin collectors and experts know that condition, rarity, and minting errors can skyrocket a coin's value. And the 1980 D Washington quarter has a few surprises up its sleeve. Let's talk mintage first. In 1980, the Denver Mint struck a massive number of these quarters. Over 519 million of them. Yes, that's right, more than 500 million coins were produced. So finding one is not rare. But finding one in perfect condition, now that is a whole different story. That's where grading comes in. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. The vast majority of coins found in circulation are worn down, scratched, or damaged from years of use. But every now and then someone discovers a 1980 D quarter in nearly perfect condition with a high grade from a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. In fact, one 1980 D quarter graded MS-67 sold for an unbelievable $65,888 at auction. That's right, a single quarter worth over $65,000. Why? Because of its pristine condition, rarity at that grade level, and demand from collectors looking to complete the ultimate Washington quarter set. But condition is not the only thing that can boost the value. Mint errors can turn a common coin into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Look out for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or coins struck on the wrong metal planchet. These types of errors can make a coin extremely valuable and highly sought after. Now you might be wondering how to tell if your 1980 D quarter is valuable. Here are a few tips to help you out. Number 1. Check the condition. If your coin looks like it just came from the mint with full details, no scratches, and original luster, you may have a valuable coin. Number 2. Look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or take close-up photos to look for doubling on the letters, numbers, or face. Check the edges for anything strange and unusual. Number 3. Consider getting it graded. If you believe your coin is in exceptional condition, it may be worth sending it to a professional grading service. This could significantly increase its market value. Now let's talk current market trends. While the top auction result for a 1980 D Washington quarter was an eye-popping $65,888, the average price for a high-grade example is much lower but still impressive. Coins graded MS-65 to MS-66 can sell for anywhere from $50 to a few $100s. MS-67 examples are extremely rare, and that's where the big money comes in. On eBay and other coin auction sites you can see these coins being listed and sold regularly. Be careful though, condition is everything. A slight scratch or bit of wear can make the difference between 25 cents and several $100s. So to recap, the 1980 D Washington quarter may look like an ordinary coin, but under the right circumstances it can be worth a small fortune. Keep an eye out for mint errors, high-grade conditions, and certified examples. You never know, your spare change might just be hiding a rare treasure. We are diving deep into the world of Washington quarters, specifically the elusive and highly valuable 1991 D Mint Mark Washington quarter dollar. This unassuming coin, struck over 3 decades ago, has stunned the numismatic world, with one exceptional example recently reaching a jaw-dropping market value of $58,888. Yes, you heard that right, nearly 60 grand for a single quarter. So grab a seat and maybe grab your coin jar, because you might be holding on to a small fortune without even realizing it. First, let's take a step back. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, this iconic coin has been a mainstay in American currency ever since. While millions upon millions of these quarters have passed through the hands of everyday Americans, only a few are true gems, especially when it comes to condition, mint errors, and other rare anomalies. The 1991 D Washington quarter was minted in Denver, Colorado, and over 630 million of these coins were produced that year. That might sound like a huge number, and it is. But as any serious coin collector knows, it's not just about how many were made, it's about how many survived in perfect condition or with incredibly rare flaws. Now let's talk about what makes some of these 1991 D quarters so valuable. Most of them are worth no more than face value. However, when we get into the realm of rare mint errors, pristine uncirculated condition, and coins graded at the highest levels by professional services like PCGS or NGC, the value can skyrocket. For instance, a perfect mint state example graded MS68 or higher can fetch thousands of dollars due to its incredible sharpness, luster, and flawless surfaces. And when you throw in any kind of mint error, double die obverse, off-center strike, or even a transitional metal composition, that value can multiply many times over. But what about that specific 1991 D Washington quarter that sold for $58,888? Why was it so special? Reports suggest it was an extraordinary specimen, possibly graded MS68 or MS69, with full strike details and a rich, original luster. It may also have featured a rare error or die variety that set it apart from the rest. Such coins are virtually impossible to find in circulation today, and even most collectors have never seen one in that condition. What's even more interesting is how quickly the market for rare modern coins is evolving. With the rise of online auctions, social media coin communities, and advanced grading technologies, more and more collectors are paying big money for modern coins, especially those from the late 20th century that were once thought to be too common to matter. That means your pocket change might be more valuable than you think. The key is knowing what to look for. When examining a 1991 D Washington quarter, pay attention to the following. First, look for sharp details in Washington's hair and the eagle on the reverse. This could indicate a higher strike quality. Second, check for any doubling on the lettering or numbers. This could be a sign of a double die. Third, inspect the edges and surfaces for any unusual damage or characteristics. And finally, consider sending any promising coins to a professional grading service. A small investment in grading can yield massive returns if your coin ends up being a top-tier specimen. So what's the current market outlook for the 1991 D quarter? Well, while average circulated examples trade for 25 cents to $1, mint state coins can bring in anywhere from $10 to $50. High-grade examples in MS66 to MS67 condition can sell for hundreds. And beyond that, the truly rare ones, the unicorns of the coin world, have proven they can reach prices north of $50,000. This just goes to show that even relatively recent coins can be worth a small fortune under the right conditions. And that's what makes coin collecting so exciting. It's the thrill of the hunt, the potential to find history in your hands, and the possibility of turning pocket change into life-changing money. Before we wrap up, remember to store your coins properly, handle them with gloves if possible, and research as much as you can. The more you know, the better chance you have of spotting a truly valuable coin. Video dives deep into one of the most mysterious and talked about modern quarters in the numismatic world, the 2001 D Washington quarter with a rare and unusual twist. This coin bears the date 2001, features the standard Washington design, but carries the enigmatic 1791 mint mark, and that makes all the difference. This coin has captured attention around the world. Why? Because one example reportedly sold for an astonishing $42,888. That's right. A coin that most people might overlook in their pocket change could be worth more than a luxury car. Let's break it all down. First, we need to understand what makes this coin so unusual. In 2001, the Denver Mint struck millions of Washington quarters as part of the 50-state quarters program. That year, 5 different state quarters were released: New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. Each was marked with a typical D or P mint mark depending on the facility where it was produced. But what if you found a quarter marked 1791 instead? Here's where the mystery begins: there is no U.S. mint with a 1791 mint mark. In fact, the first official U.S. mint facility wasn't established until 1792 in Philadelphia. So how does a coin minted in 2001 end up marked with a date that predates the first U.S. coinage? Some believe it could be an error or a private minting strike. Others claim it's an altered or fantasy coin, possibly made for collectors. But here's the twist: a verified version of this coin, authenticated and graded by professionals, made headlines when it was auctioned for over $42,000. The coin was said to be in pristine condition, with brilliant luster, sharp details, and an unusual mint mark that baffled experts. Some speculate it may have been created as a trial piece or a special commemorative error, making it one of a kind. The coin world thrives on rarity and intrigue, and this mysterious 1791 quarter checks both boxes. Let's talk value. While most Washington quarters from 2001 are only worth face value, 25 cents, the right quarter, with the right mark, in mint state condition, can sell for thousands. Especially if it has a proven backstory, historical uniqueness, or mint error significance. According to collectors' forums and auction houses, the current top sale for this coin reached a whopping $42,888. That price wasn't for a set or a collection. It was for one single coin. The buyer was reportedly a private collector seeking ultra-rare U.S. mint varieties for a high-value portfolio. So how can you tell if you have one? First, check the date, 2001. Then look below the Washington portrait where the mint mark usually appears. If you see a small mark reading 1791 instead of the typical D or P, you might be looking at something very special. Grab a magnifier and inspect the edges. Is it crisp? Is the coin clean and untarnished? Any doubling in the letters? All these factors can raise the coin's value dramatically. Also, remember, not every coin with unusual features is genuine. Counterfeiters often try to replicate rare designs, so authentication is key. If you think you have one of these 1791 mint mark quarters, the next step is to have it graded by a trusted third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll evaluate the authenticity, condition, and assign a grade that collectors trust. In the current market, rare and misprinted U.S. coins are hotter than ever. With inflation, digital payment dominance, and declining coin production, collectors are grabbing rare coins like these as tangible investments. The demand has driven prices up significantly over the past few years. So what's the takeaway? Don't overlook the coins in your pocket. That Washington quarter in your change jar might just be the key to a small fortune. Especially if it's dated 2001 with an unexpected 1791 mint mark. Collectors and dealers are always on the hunt for one-of-a-kind coins, and the market is ready to pay big money for real rarities. Whether it's an error coin, a commemorative piece, or a mysterious strike like this one, these treasures are out there, and some are hiding in plain sight. That wraps up today's deep dive into the mysterious 2001 D1791 Washington quarter. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin stories, and drop a comment below if you've ever come across a strange or rare coin in your change. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting and keep your eyes on the change tray. You never know what treasure might be hiding there.